Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the new and exclusive channel. DC Movies Reporter. This channel is reporting on the concept of news from the making to shooting in big cameras, news from the actors to their loving fans, news from the big budget towards the big business in the movie theaters all around the world, news about your favorite star casting and sudden changes in their movies hit and fail on box office, and news which we loves to hurt, and got it up to at least 75% on net files of different sites. After becoming certified fresh, if a movie subsequently drops below 70%, it loses the designation. Stay above and stay golden. In addition, a concerted theatrical release is a must for qualification. Streaming movies that may have gone to theaters for a week but without independently verifiable screen counts or box office reports were left for our TV rankings. Well, we adding some of the best and hit projects of Marvel, and these movies are also top blockbusters by the viewer's best choice through 2019.
This only ends one way.
Well, on the other hand, all action movies from Marvel, like Captain Marvel, Avengers, Endgame, and John Wick, Chapter 3 Parabellum with a big on the top list from theaters to home screens. The movies that are going through the counting, Toy Story 4, Midsommar, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, are still on the graphs of calculation and will be shared with you in next video. We'll update this list with the top, most popular movies finishing up 20th century movies, so let's brief best ratings movies through 2019. Number 25. Climax 2019. All over the votes, 70%. Critics' consensus, challenging and rewarding in equal measure. Climax captures writer-director Gaspar Noé working near his technically brilliant and visually distinctive peak. Synopsis, from director Gaspar Noé, irreversible, enter the void, love comes, a hypnotic, hallucinatory, and ultimately hair-raising depiction of a party war. Starring Sofia Boutella, Romain Guillaumic, Sahila Yacoub, Kiddy Smile. Directed by Gaspar. Number 24. The Death of Dick Long 2019. All over the votes, 75%. Critics' consensus, The Death of Dick Long mixes dark humor with provocative ideas to produce a sharp blend that's admittedly uneven but uniquely satisfying. Synopsis, holy crap, Dick is dead, died last night after band practice, and his bandmates, Zeke and Earl, Michael Abbott Jr. More. Starring Michael Abbott Jr., Virginia Newcomb, Andre Hyland, Sarah Baker. Directed by Daniel Number 23. Hotel Mumbai 2019. The all-out votes, 76%. Critics' consensus, its depiction of real-life horror will strike some as exploitative, but Hotel Mumbai remains a well-made dramatization of tragic events. Synopsis, a gripping true story of humanity and heroism. Hotel Mumbai vividly recounts the 2008 siege of the famed Taj Hotel. More. Starring Armie Hammer, Jason Isaacs, Nazanin Boniadi, Dev Patel. Directed by Anthony Maritz.
But to get through this, we must stick together.
I never wanted that.
Number 22. Who Killed Hitler and Then the Bigfoot 2019. The all votes, 78%. Critics' consensus, The Man Who Killed Hitler and Then the Bigfoot just about lives up to the wild promise of its title, due in no small part to Sam Elliott's world-weary work in the title role. Synopsis, The Man Who Killed Hitler and Then the Bigfoot follows the epic adventures of an American legend that no one. More. Starring Sam Elliott, Aidan Turner, Ron Livingston, Larry Miller. Directed by Robert D. Krikowski. Number 21. Feel of its predecessor, but it remains a dazzling adventure into the unknown. Synopsis, why was Elsa born with magical powers? The answer is calling her and threatening her kingdom. Together with Anna Kristoff. More. Starring Kristen Bell, Adina Menzel, Josh Gad, Jonathan Groff. Directed by Jennifer Lee Chris Buck. Frozen 2 had best FX effects rather than the first movies in the back years and is still under the counting. Frozen 2 also the best movie through 2019. Number 20. Nightmare Cinema 2019. The best of all voting 77%. Critics' consensus, admirably eclectic yet more consistent than most horror anthologies, Nightmare Cinema should entertain viewers in the mood for a good old-fashioned creepshow.
Welcome to my nightmare.
Synopsis: in this twisted horror anthology, 5 strangers are drawn to an abandoned theater and forced to watch the deepest and more. Starring Mickey Rourke, Annabeth Gish, Maurice Bernard, Richard Chamberlain. Directed by Alejandro Briguez, Joe Dante, Ryuhei Kitamura, David Slade. Number 19. Everybody Knows To-Do's Low SABEN 2019. Best of the all voting 78%. Critics' consensus, Everybody Knows is somewhat less than the sum of its parts despite the efforts of an outstanding cast, and a disappointing step back for writer-director Isgar Farhadi. Synopsis: the film follows Laura Cruz on her travels from Argentina to her small hometown in Spain for her sisters. More. Starring Penelope Cruz, Javier Bardem, Ricardo Darín, Eduard Fernandez. Directed by Isgar Farhadi. Number 18. Captain Marvel 2019. Best of all voting 78%. Critics' consensus, packed with action, humor, and visual thrills, Captain Marvel introduces the MCU's latest hero with an origin story that makes effective use of the franchise's signature formula. Synopsis: the story follows Carol Danvers as she becomes one of the universe's most powerful heroes when Earth is caught in war. Starring Brie Larson, Samuel L. Jackson, Ben Mendelsohn, Jaimin Hensu. Directed by Anna Boden, Ryan Fleck. Number 17. 2019. The best of all voting 79%. Critics' consensus, Jojo Rabbit's blend of irreverent humor and serious ideas definitely won't be to everyone's taste, but either way, this anti-hate satire is audacious to a fault. Synopsis: writer-director Taika Waititi, Thor: Ragnarok, Hunt for the Wilder People brings his signature style of humor and pathos to his war. Starring Roman Griffin Davis, Thomasin McKenzie, Taika Waititi, Rebel Wilson. Directed by Taika Waititi.
Definitely not a good time to be a Nazi.
Number 16. Abominable 2019. The best of all votings 80%. Critics' consensus, working with admittedly familiar ingredients, Abominable offers audiences a beautifully animated and overall engaging adventure that the whole family can enjoy. Synopsis: when teenage Chloe Bennett, Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., encounters a young Yeti on the roof of her apartment building. More. Starring Chloe Bennett, Tenzing Norgay trainer, Albert Sai, Eddie Izzard. Directed by Jill Carlton. Number 15.
Scared it might happen again.
The Report 2019. The best of all the votings 83%. Critics' consensus, The Report draws on a dark chapter in American history to offer a sober, gripping account of one public servant's crusade for accountability. Synopsis: the story of Daniel Jones, lead investigator for the U.S. Senate's sweeping study into the CIA's detention and interrogation program. More. Starring Adam Driver, Annette Bening, John Hamm, Ted Levine. Directed by Scott Z. Burns. Number 14. Her Smell 2019. The best of all votings 83%. Critics' consensus, held together by a gripping lead performance from Elizabeth Moss, Her Smell is challenging and admittedly uneven, but ultimately worth the effort. Synopsis: Becky Something, Elizabeth Moss, is a 90s punk rock superstar who once filled arenas with her grungy all-female trio Something. She retreats from the spotlight and Number 13. Midsommar 2019. The best of all votings 83%. Critics' consensus, ambitious, impressively crafted, and above all unsettling, Midsommar further proves writer-director Ari Aster is a horror auteur to be reckoned with. Synopsis: Danny and Christian are a young American couple with a relationship on the brink of falling apart. But after Danny invites herself to join Christian and his friends on a trip to a once-in-a-lifetime midsummer festival in a remote Swedish village. Starring Florence Pugh, Liv Meones, Jack Renner, Wilhelm. Number 12. Dogman 2019. The best of all votings 84%. Critics' consensus: Dogman offers a grim character study set apart by Marcello Font's performance and director Matteo Garone's tight grip on the material. Synopsis: in a seaside village on the outskirts of an Italian city, where the only law seems to be survival, Marcello is a slight, mild-mannered man who divides his days between working at his modest dog-grooming salon, caring for his daughter Alida, and being coerced into the petty criminal schemes of the local bully Simoncino, an ex-boxer who terrorizes the neighborhood. Starring Marcello Font, Eduardo Pes, Nunzia Sciano, Adamo Dionisi. Number 11. Dora and the Lost City of Gold 2019. The best of all votings 84%. Critics' consensus, led by a winning performance from Isabella Munner, Dora and the Lost City of Gold is a family-friendly adventure that retains its source material's youthful spirit. Synopsis: having spent most of her life exploring the jungle with her parents, nothing could prepare Dora, Isabella Munner, for her most dangerous adventure ever. Always the explorer, Dora quickly finds herself leading Boots, her best friend, a monkey, Diego, Jeffrey Walbig, a mysterious jungle inhabitant, and solve the impossible mystery behind a lost city of gold.
She's freaking awesome.
Starring Isabella Merced, Eugenio de Bez, Michael Pena, Eva Longoria. Directed by James Bobbin. Number 10.
You getting that over?
Astra 2019. Best of the all votings 84%. Critics' consensus: Ad Astra takes a visually thrilling journey through the vast reaches of space while charting an ambitious course for the heart of the bond between parent and child. Synopsis: astronaut Roy McBride, Brad Pitt, travels to the outer edges of the solar system to find his missing father and unravel a mystery that threatens the survival of our planet. His journey will uncover secrets that challenge the nature of human existence and our place in the cosmos. Starring Brad Pitt, Tommy Lee Jones, Ruth Negga, Liv Tyler. Directed by J. Number 9.
Times have changed. You need to change.
The Lego Movie 2, the second part 2019. Best of all votings 94. Critics' consensus: while it isn't quite as much fun as its predecessor, The Lego Movie 2, the second part fits neatly into an animated all-ages franchise with heart and humor to spare. Synopsis: the much-anticipated sequel to the critically acclaimed global box office phenomenon that started it all, The Lego Movie 2. More. Starring Chris Pratt, Elizabeth Banks, Will Arnett, Tiffany Haddish. Directed by Mike Mitchell. Number 8. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood 2019. The best of all votings 85%. Critics' consensus: thrillingly unrestrained yet solidly crafted, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood tempers Tarantino's provocative impulses with the clarity of a mature filmmaker's vision. Synopsis: Quentin Tarantino's ninth feature film is a story that takes place in Los Angeles in 1969, at the height of hippie Hollywood. The two lead characters are Rick Dalton, Leonardo DiCaprio, former star of a Western TV series, and his longtime stunt double Cliff Booth, Brad Pitt. Both are struggling to make it in a Hollywood they don't recognize anymore. Starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie, Luke Perry. Directed by Quentin Tarantino. Number 7.
DNA, petri dishes.
Depraved 2019. The best of all votings 87%. Critics' consensus: a thrillingly effective update on a classic story, Depraved jolts a familiar monster back to life with a potent blend of timely themes and old-school chills. Synopsis: the legend of Frankenstein gets a provocative modern update in the stylishly disturbing new film from indie horror master Larry Fessenden. Suffering from PTSD following his stint as an army medic, Henry David Cole now works feverishly in his Brooklyn laboratory to forget the death he witnessed overseas by creating life in the form of a man cobbled together from body parts. Starring David Cole, Joshua Leonard, Alex Bro, Anna Kane. Directed by Larry Fessenden. Number 6. Radio are not 2019. The best of all votings 88%. Critics consensus, smart, subversive, and darkly funny. Ready or Not is a crowd-pleasing horror film with giddily entertaining bite. Synopsis: Ready or Not follows a young bride, Samara Weaving, as she joins her new husband's, Mark O'Brien, rich, eccentric family. Adam Brody, Henry Cheney, Andy McDowell, in a time-honored tradition that turns into a lethal game with everyone fighting for the survival. Starring Samara Weaving, Adam Brody, Mark O'Brien, IX, Henry Cheney. Directed by Matt Bettinelli Olpen, Tyler Gillett. Number 5.
Like everyone's lives are going places.
Brittany Runs a Marathon 2019. The best of all votings 89%. Critics consensus: Brittany Runs a Marathon is an earnest and hilarious dramedy that finally gives Gillian Bell a role worthy of her gifts. Synopsis: Brittany Fogler is a hilarious, friendly, hot mess of a New Yorker who always knows how to have a good war. Starring Gillian Bell, Michaela Watkins, Utkarsh Ambudkar, Lil Rel Howery. Directed by Paul Downs Calypso.
It's about you taking responsibility for yourself.
Number 4. 2019. The best of all votings 89%. Critics consensus: Arctic proves that a good survival thriller doesn't need much in the way of dialogue to get by, especially when Mads Mikkelsen is the one doing the surviving. Synopsis: A man stranded in the Arctic after an airplane crash must decide whether to remain in the relative safety of his makeshift camp or to embark on a deadly trek through the unknown in hopes of making it out alive. Starring Mads Mikkelsen, Maria Thelma Smeradottir. Directed by Joe. Number 3. Rocketman 2019. The best of all votings 89%. Critics consensus: It's going to be a long time before a rock biopic manages to capture the highs and lows of an artist's life like Rocketman. Synopsis: Rocketman is an epic musical fantasy about the incredible human story of Elton John's breakthrough years. The film follows this inspirational story, set to Elton John's most beloved songs and performed by star Taron Egerton, tells the universally relatable story of how a small-town boy became one of the most iconic figures in pop culture. Starring Taron Egerton, Jamie Bell, Richard Madden, Bryce Dallas Howard. Directed by Dexter Fletcher. Number 2. Purpose is a timeless legend, for a thoroughly enjoyable new addition to the family movie canon. Synopsis: Old school magic meets the modern world in the epic adventure The Kid Who Would Be King. Alex Ashbourne Circus thinks he's just another nobody, until he stumbles upon the mythical sword in the stone, Excalibur. Now, he must unite his friends and enemies into a band of knights. Starring Louis Ashbourne Circus, Patrick Stewart, Rebecca Ferguson, Ian Chalmers. Directed by Joe Cornish.
Mario Kart.
Number 1. The last movie of this part. John Wick, Chapter 3 PARABELLUM 2019. The best of all votings 90%. Critics consensus: John Wick, Chapter 3 Parabellum reloads for another hard-hitting round of the brilliantly choreographed, over-the-top action that fans of the franchise demand. Synopsis: In this third installment of the adrenaline-fueled action franchise, super assassin John Wick Reeves returns with a $14 million price tag on his head to kill him, and he should fight and survive. Starring Keanu Reeves, Halle Berry, Lawrence Fishburne, Mark Dacascos. Directed by Chad Stahelski. Best movies, gone through many views, and moreover these movies had best ratings throughout year. Anyhow friends, this is starting. And this is the part 1 of my movies reporting channel. It's a humble request that please like my channel and subscribe to my new channel. Many thank and regards. See you then, in next video soon. It's a humble request that please like and subscribe to my new channel, for bringing more best videos. Thanks and regards.